rectify a global price inflation and currency devaluation. I mean, this is bad. I mean, I've heard of national governments dumping gold, but not 8 men in Korea. That's a totally different story. I will go no further on this story. I'm just glad they weren't trying to smuggle $260,000 worth of silver coins. That might have been a very painful way to go about it. All right, enough of that. It's a serious topic. The Daily Quote is next on our agenda here. Speaking of agenda, we have, oh man, Brzezinski, Zbigniew Brzezinski. I hope I got his name right. His quote is relevant to what's happening in our world today, so listen up. Quote, "The technocratic age is slowly designing an everyday more controlled society. The society will be dominated by an elite of persons free from traditional values who will have no doubt in fulfilling their objectives by means of purge techniques with which they will influence the behavior of people and will control and watch the society in all details. It will become possible to exert a practically permanent watch on each citizen of the world." And that's the quote from Zbigniew Brzezinski. What is he? Is he a famous author or something? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar. Oh, The Grand Chessboard. All right. Oh, thank you, Du, who explains that he helped found Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda with other. Okay, never mind. That's an important quote. Now, I want to remind you that we do have a special still going here at INFOWARS. The INFOWARS store has the 15-day free trial is still going on. So a 15-day free trial, no charge to try out to become a member at PRISONPLANET.tv, where you can check out all the nightly news videos. And of course, you have the ability to share that login password with multiple friends so that you can help inform them as well. This trial is limited, so check it out now while you still can. I know they're not going to keep running this for very long. Also available is the Alex Jones Everything Special. It's over $300 worth of DVDs and documentaries. Everything that Alex Jones has put together in documentary form for just $99.95. Is it 95 cents or? Okay, $99.95. I own this set myself, by the way. This was some of my Christmas viewing, and it was very educational. It's amazing. You got to go back and watch this stuff because now you see how far ahead of the curve Alex Jones really was. Now, stay with us here on INFOWARS Nightly News. We'll be right back after this break with an interview with Ed Corcoran, who is the founder and editor of Survivalist magazine. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, filling in tonight. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
America is in trouble.
Washington is a disgrace.
Government has become too big. It's overtaxing, overspending.
We need to change direction.
We really need change.
We can't afford to make the same mistakes we've made in the past.
Mitt Romney's reputation as a flip-flopper.
He went the other way when he got paid to go the other way.
There is need for economic stimulus.
It's about serial hypocrisy.
This election is about trust.
There's been one true consistent candidate, and that's Dr. Ron Paul.
Ron Paul has been so consistent from the very beginning.
He seems like a more honest candidate.
He tells the truth about what he believes, whether you like it or not.
He's never once voted for a tax increase, never once voted for an unbalanced budget.
Ron Paul's plan is bold, cuts 5 departments. It's what we need.
When he says he's going to cut $1 trillion in the first year, I believe it.
If you don't like how things are going and you're tired of politicians, he's something different.
Ron Paul.
Ron Paul.
Ron Paul.
Ron Paul
is the one we've been looking for.
I'm Ron Paul, and I approve this message.
They're bloodied, we're bloodied. It is absolute total war. if you believe in this information and want to support its viral spread, go to the INFOWARS store at INFOWARS.com. We've got the new G.I. Joe INFOWARS t-shirts. We've got the incredible Pro Pure gravity-fed filters available at INFOWARS.com in the store. We've got a new DVD, Scientists Under Attack, the Don't Tread on Me flag. We've got all sorts of different bumper stickers to help spread the rebellion virally. It's all there, wristbands, citizen rule books in every order. Order online at INFOWARS.com today. The water filters, the canteens, it's all there. INFOWARS.com.
All right, welcome back. And now we're going to be speaking with the founder and editor of Survivalist magazine. He's the founder of the website CompleteSurvivalist.com. His name is Ed Corcoran, and he's here to talk to us about what he calls a collapse in slow motion. A lot more going on in the world today that you need to know about, and Ed's here to help analyze it for us. Ed, thank you for joining us today on INFOWARS Nightly News. How you doing?
I'm doing swell, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
Now, you've got a lot on your mind today with world events. What do you think are the most important things happening that people need to know about today?
Well, one of the things I like to stress to people is, people ask me all the time, what is the biggest thing to be concerned about? A lot of people seem to have the notion that, they're going to wake up one morning and our cities are going to be on fire, or there's going to be martial law, or something, drastic is going to happen immediately overnight, and it's just going to be, a quick event. What we're really experiencing is what I call a collapse in slow motion. We are in the midst of a societal and economic collapse right now. It's just happening by degrees rather than happening in one drastic fell swoop. Some of the issues that concern me and other survivalists and preppers the most is the economy. Most of us, that's our number one issue. I mean, I don't think I need to belabor the point too much. I think most people realize that, our phony debt-based fiat currency and economic system is unsustainable. It's designed to collapse. There is no, what we're doing right now is we're living on borrowed time. Recently, Obama has asked for yet another extension or, increase of the debt ceiling. And, you can only go so far with that. That's, it's like going into your bank and your credit cards are all maxed out and saying, hey, why don't you increase my credit limit, and with no, plan or way of paying it back. So
now, Ed, when you say we're living on borrowed time, I want to ask you specifically about timing. And by the way, if you don't mind, could you look right at the webcam when you're talking to us? What kind of timetable do you think we're dealing with here in terms of the collapse of the EU's financial system, or debt collapse of the EU? And then what kind of timing for that to ripple back into the United States and affect people here in the USA?
Well, I'm not an economist. Any kind of prognostication that I could make would, simply be a guess. But based on the folks that I speak to, and everybody who does spend the majority of their time following the economy and forecasting, making predictions, it could happen within this year. Now, that's precluding, other situations, and a lot of us are watching the situation going on in Europe, especially Greece right now. You're not seeing a whole lot of what's going on in Greece in the mainstream media. Everybody knows that Greece is in default with, and they're counting on bailouts from Germany and Italy. But it's horrific what's going on there. And I suggest that a lot of people take a look at it, go online and take a look at, they can't get basic medicines anymore. People are starving over there.
That's right.
The rioting hasn't.
I'm sorry, but a lot of people in the U.S. don't know that that's the case. The pharmacies are begging for medicine in Greece, and that's just a small example of the kind of breakdowns we're going to see. Now, you write, or you're the editor of Survivalist magazine. You cover this day in and day out. What do you think it's realistic for people in the USA and Canada to eventually expect those kinds of shortages to strike home as that economic collapse begins to ripple around the world?
Well, again, it's not an event. It's happening right now. I mean, anybody who's been paying attention to the prices in the grocery stores are seeing gradual increases in prices. And when other factors, I mean, there's a confluence of disasters going on right now. When you factor in oil, you know, the whole peak oil thing, which, you know, I like to address a little bit. I know a lot of people out there will roll their eyes and say, oh, peak oil is a hoax, it's a myth and whatnot. And I believe that myself at one point. But, you know, my work through the magazine and through the radio show that I did puts me in contact with a lot of people whose business it is to know about these things. And I wouldn't want to mention any of them by name because they're still attached to certain various intelligence organizations and whatnot. But the thing about peak oil is that it's not that we've run out of oil. It's that we've stopped discovering new fields, and it's costing us more and more energy to extract the oil, and we're having trouble meeting up with demands. Now, factor into that as well that what Hubbard, M. King Hubbard, who was the one who proposed the Hubbard curve back in 1956, predicting that peak oil would be achieved, or we would reach peak oil by 1970, and he was correct, by the way. What he didn't factor in was that there are a lot of other countries now who are emerging as major oil consumers, such as China, India, other emerging and countries that are just becoming industrialized, who are just joining the party right now, and they're draining the resources and causing the resources to be depleted even faster.
Right. So demand is way up. That's definitely the case, but I do want to ask you more about peak oil, but first, what about the Strait of Hormuz and the situation with Iran? You know, the U.S. government is beating the war drums for war with Iran. Israel is upping their talk about Iran. There's a lot of pressure on Iran. How is that likely to impact energy supply to the United States and then trickle through the economy in terms of increased prices? What's your take on that?
Well, it's already had an effect on the price of oil here in the United States. Oil prices have begun rising again. I think gasoline is up on an average of 7 cents per gallon right now. And in the wintertime, typically, historically, this is when oil prices usually go down. And so, and this is directly related to tension. Anytime there's any kind of tension or speculation about anything going on in the oil-producing part of the world in the Middle East, just the fear is enough to cause the oil prices to go up. The situation in the Strait of Hormuz, whenever I read about it or research it, it kind of reminds me of several points of history. Well, first of all, the United States is putting sanctions and threatening embargoes due to Iran's nuclear program. Now, the International Atomic Energy Association has determined that they're nowhere close to producing weapons-grade uranium. Yet still, this kind of smacks of the WMD thing with Iraq. Also, whenever the United States starts pulling out the economic guns with embargoes and applying sanctions or levying sanctions against a country, that is an act of aggression, and that's very provocative. That is usually the first thing that governments do when the first thing they do is they try to cripple another country's economy.